Broad topics, broad minds, broad hosts, but not just for broads. This is Broadscast with Kim Goldman and Jackie McDougall.
Welcome to Broadscast. Hi, Kim.
Hello, Jackie.
I'm going to plug in your headphones because we have a guest today.
Oh, right. Thank you. I forgot.
So I'm excited about this show. I just started to tell you, you haven't even heard the topic yet.
I don't even know.
So
spring it.
One
I
of
feel
the,
like I'm on Jerry Springer right now and you're about to announce the paternity
I am actually the father of your child. So, which I would actually be honored because I love your kid.
That's a whole other show. Yeah.
That's a total other episode. So there's this letter to the editor in Rhode Island. Okay. In Barrington, I believe. I'm pulling it up. This guy writes this letter to the editor and talking about women in yoga pants and how they should not exist, right? Mm-hmm. So he, I'm pulling up the letter here. He's like, to the editor, the absolute worst thing to ever happen in women fashion is the recent development of yoga pants as daily wear outside the yoga studio. Not since the miniskirt has there been something worn by so many women who should never have it on in the first place. From casual to formal, weddings, funerals, shopping, and even for the workplace, yoga pants are everywhere on women of all ages, usually paired with a blousey top and ponytail hairdo. What a disaster. I love that he said what a disaster because you know who that sounds like.
Trump?
Oh,
okay. He's like, wait, I know this answer.
Wouldn't it be hilarious? So the women of Barrington, Rhode Island, have responded to this in a very funny, creative, hilarious way. So I'm not going to tell you how right now, but we are actually going to have Audrey McClellan on.
Yeah.
She's a blogger.
Yeah.
And a social media influencer, and she happens to be from Rhode Island and knows the story
inside
and the buzz. So she's going to be calling in a little bit.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm excited to talk to her about the yoga pants scandal.
Yeah. You like to wear your yoga pants out and about, don't you? Don't you? You do.
I think most of my yoga pants are ripped at this point. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that lately I've been wearing the yoga. Well, maybe. I don't know. Do I? Do I look terrible? Does this guy have a point?
No, but there are lots of people that like.
Yeah.
That
like
wear,
you would look cute in a little pair of yoga pants, but I don't think I've ever seen you.
No.
When you walk out like in sweats, what are you wearing?
I don't
like the old ones, like the old school gray ones with the elastic at the bottom.
Yeah, that I turn over and then yeah, I know. I don't anymore. I don't wear sweats anymore.
Really?
Here's why. Because I live and work in the same community. And when I first took my job with the Youth Project, I was out shopping one day with my kid and I was wearing ratty old sweatpants and my hair in a ponytail. And I ran into a city official and I was mortified because I'm like, I am the representative of this organization that I'm coming to the city to ask for money. And I just felt like I needed to pay more attention with the way I put myself out into the world in the community with which I work and live. So, I don't know. I just don't really.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I should probably think that way. It's funny because ever since I started working remotely,
right?
And the last two big major projects I've been on, as well as having a studio out of my house, I noticed that I'm not sure when the last time I put makeup on was, and it actually affects my mood, and I think it's all tied in. Like I won't work out as much, or make an effort, and I think then I just start feeling crappy. Like
if you put makeup on, that makes you want to go work out?
No, it makes me feel like a normal person, and then it makes me just feel better about myself. And I think the better you feel about yourself, the more likely you are to exercise.
Oh, see, it's funny. It works the opposite for me. Like I wanted, when I go to the gym and I see people in their full makeup and full hairdo, it cracks me up.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about wearing makeup. I'm just to the gym. I'm talking about wearing makeup in general, making the effort.
Yeah.
But I will say if I get dressed and put on, wash my hair and put on makeup and stuff, the chance of my working out during the day is nil.
No, if I don't go
That's
to the
why
gym
I like
first
going
thing
to
in the morning.
Taekwondo at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Because like I'll get sweaty and then I'll just take a shower and go to bed.
Oh, see,
like it has to all wash off anyway.
All my stuff has to happen first thing in the morning. Otherwise I'll never make it because I'll find every excuse. And then I'm like, I'm clean. I don't want to take a shower. Yeah. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. So anyway, but I guess the long story short is that I need to make an effort. in life. And maybe not wear the yoga pants. Maybe, I mean, do you feel like women who wear yoga pants, like, do you feel like they're giving up? Your personal opinion?
No, because it's very possible that women are on their way to go work out or not, or they're just comfortable in whatever it is that they're wearing. Like, yoga pants doesn't mean anything other than you're wearing something that makes you feel good about yourself, or you're comfortable, or.
But like, I think that, like, what are they, the leisure wear? What do they call it now? The athleisure is like a trend now. Like, I think that people wear, you know, a lot of different like athletic type looks. I don't think it's not like the day where you wear sweats and a big, remember there's like sweats and then the giant sweatshirt.
Right.
That was appealing, you know, flattering on no one.
Right.
But I think that there's.
So is the suggestion that if you're wearing that athletic wear that you're not actually going to do anything athletic, that it's just more comfortable?
It's just
than
comfortable,
wearing jeans?
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't know why we care so much what other people do.
That's a great point.
I mean, even if you walked around naked, but like, why do we care? Why do we have to have an opinion? Why do we have to have a video? And why do we have to shame people? And like, just give me a break. Like, mind your own business.
Yeah. So, I mean, this guy's letter, which we'll talk a little bit more about with Audrey, is just
okay. I have
classic.
A random question for you.
Yes. Love it.
Random question of the day. Do you think there is a difference between piercing a girl's earrings, like girl's ears, versus a boy's ears at a young age?
That's a great question. I have to say, I'm not a fan of boys with earrings at any age.
Okay.
At all.
Okay.
I think I even back when it was like hipper for some people, like
one earring,
like back in the late 80s, early 90s, when
Yeah.
I had a boyfriend who's like Voldemort, like we don't even mention. I thought it was disgusting then. Like I thought he looked ridiculous.
Right. Right.
I'm sorry, guys listening, but the earring that you're sporting, it looks really stupid.
The one lightning bolt.
It just looks stupid. Yeah. It's like, you know what it says to me is like, if you're older, I'm going through a midlife crisis.
What is it just the one earring or the two earrings, or is it just earrings in general?
I don't know. I mean, I think that there are some guys who are like more either the metro, or they like have a certain look and they could somewhat pull it off because it's part of like the whole thing. But I just think it looks really dumb. Okay,
so here's my question. So
wow,
I
witnessed
really
mean.
No. It's speaking to a bigger conversation. So I was I don't want to say where I was. I saw a young person yesterday.
How young?
He was 9, with both ears pierced. 8 or 9, and I was like. And this particular kid had a headband on that was like not around the head. It was kind of like puffed. It was like a crown kind of. Oh. And there was like a strut.
Was it Mike Reno from Loverboy? I mean,
but it was like it wasn't a headband like that you wear like to your sweat. It was very much like for looks. And this
because most are wearing headbands for sweat purposes.
But this kid had like a strut, and I looked at him. I'm like, oh, punk, like in my head. But I'm sure he's a lovely kid. But my immediate impression was punk.
Yeah.
And so I sat there and I'm like, I have a judgment about this kid. Like, and I you know how I feel. I think we all judge regardless if we say we do or don't. I think we inherently do. Yep. But it just made me think, like, why is it different that this boy has earrings at 9? And I wouldn't say that about a girl that had earrings at 9. But I was like, but I wouldn't let my kid.
See,
I don't know. It just wasn't interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I feel like a total hypocrite because there are certain things I like and don't like. Like I don't love boys wearing with long hair. I don't think it looks good. You know, right. I'm not a fan. Right? But again, no judgment. But it's just I just don't love it. And I don't love boys with earrings and this and that. But at the same time, you know, you've seen my kid, my daughter, and she's got like short, sometimes faux hockey, you know, black hair that had bleach in it because it was a color for a while.
Right.
Like, and so, you know, and I find that with my boys too. Like when my 5th grade son wanted to dye his hair red so he could look more like mom.
Right.
You know, which is so sweet and like I mean, seriously, if you say you want to be more like mom, I'll give you a pony, whatever. But I think I struggled with that a little bit. Like,
yeah.
And I go out of my way so much with my daughter to like let her express herself in all these ways, even though like 9 times out of actually anywhere we go, people just assume she's a boy because that's exactly how she dresses. That's how she walks. That's how she presents herself. And she loves that. She's a fan. Right. So, and as a mom, you know, did I think that I'd be braiding hair and going out to Justice and my biggest problem would be like, that's too old for you. Yeah, that's how I thought it would be with a girl. And I've gone out of my way to make sure that she feels
comfortable in her skin.
Yeah,
and
like
celebrated.
Yeah. So, but then with the boys, I don't feel like, I mean, I'm not judging them or like harsh with them, but I'm not as open in their expression. Like I would not let my son, if my 5th grader asked if he could get his ear pierced, I would not let him. Right. What is that? What does that say?
Well, that's why I'm asking, because I found myself and I was like, I don't really know, but I applauded at the end of my thought process that those parents are like, okay, the kid wanted that for whatever reason. That was important. I saw the parent doesn't have pierced ears, so maybe there's a sibling that does. I have no idea, but I do think that there are times where we can celebrate and encourage independence and creativity and uniqueness. But I also think there are certain things that are age appropriate, like in getting, but then that's what I'm saying. But like girls getting their ears, I mean, I got my ears pierced when I was 6, like, yeah. And that was appropriate.
My daughter got it at like 4 or 5 and she wanted it, you know?
Yeah.
And I was so excited to do it.
But is it because society doesn't really view boys as getting ears pierced? So therefore it's not appropriate until later. Like,
well, there's such a double standard anyway, because I wrote about this a long time ago that, you know, my daughter started playing football when she was 5. Right. And she had like the football jersey with Lucy in the back, and everybody in real life, on Facebook, wherever, was like, girl power, you know, go and be yourself and, you know, kick butt and all that. And they were so, but then I was reading a post about a boy who wanted to wear dresses or a nightgown or something. And people were all over this blogger, like that it was wrong and what she was doing. And I'm like, why are we? So that's where I was talking about like the gender double standard.
But that's different if you wanted to wear a nightgown. I mean, versus if that boy wanted to be a cheerleader. I mean, she's you know, wearing a traditionally boys football uniform, and you know,
but even now, like take the football out of it, but you know, she wears whatever she wants. This morning, we actually had a thing in this house because like my 2 boys, when they grow out of stuff, I end up out of habit, like throwing it in a bag and think like I'll donate it or garage sale, whatever. Right. And so my daughter was wearing a shirt and sometimes I have one kid who things get a little too small and he doesn't think they're too small. I've got that issue. So I try to then maybe not so, obviously, like I try to sneak it off into the bag because he just gets very emotional. He wants to hang on to everything. He's like,
and then Lucy shows up wearing
a future hoarder. So she goes out to the bag and she finds the stuff and she's wearing it. Right. So he's like, that's my shirt. And I'm like, it's too small for you. But she went out to the bag and got it. Right. And I realized like, that's the stuff that makes her happy. She wants to just wear, but I still don't necessarily automatically in my head go, okay, now it will be passed down to her. When I know then that's, you know, but the other thing, like if my son wanted to wear something of mine, that like society's totally fine. And even myself, total double standard that she can wear all this stuff. But what if he wanted to wear something that was like traditionally girly?
Well, it's
what is
like,
that? Do you think,
I don't know.
What do we, I mean, you're a, you know, you work at the Youth Project, you're the executive director there, and you deal with teens and identity issues and things like that. And like, what are your words of wisdom?
Well, being a parent is different than the job that I do. So, you know, it shouldn't be, but it is. But I mean, we always encourage our kids to express themselves and to celebrate who they are and make sure that you're doing it in a way that you feel safe and that surround yourself with people who love and respect you. I don't necessarily think that expressing yourself in a way where you're putting yourself in harm's way, like if you go to, you know, an anti-gay march and try to like turn everybody like go like you're putting yourself in harm's way. So I'm not. I that's not coming out exactly the way that I'm trying to say it. But like
if you try to express yourself in a place that isn't necessarily open to that expression,
right? Like I still want you to express yourself, but you have to be mindful of where you're doing it and that. Know that you could potentially be putting yourself in harm's way. So we always encourage our kids to love who they are, be confident in who they are, and also educate other people about their different lifestyles. Or, I mean, there's so many different layers to this. And it's essentially the same conversation that I would have with my son. Like I fully encourage my kid to be who he wants to be, but he also has to, what I always tell him is like, you got to know your audience. Like you got to read the room, you know, and, I certainly have very strong opinions on certain things, but I also have to pay attention about where I voice them sometimes because I just have to be careful sometimes. All of us do, you know, and you learn that. But I think as a parent, you know, we know and see the world differently than kids do. And so I think that we have to and want to try to protect them from what we know is going to be potentially a negative response because we're not as progressive as I think we want to be. So when you see Lucy putting on a football uniform or wearing something that stereotypically looks more boyish, you want to protect her because you know that she's going to get you believe that she's going to be made fun of because our world is not all that supportive and encouraging. And I think it would be the
but
same
at the same
thing.
time, if I'm trying to protect her and telling her that there's something wrong with it, am I
It's not wrong. It's just letting her know that, like, and it's what you've done, that sometimes people don't like that. And it would be of anything. If she wore blue shoes and someone hated blue, they're going to make a comment about her blue shoes because sometimes people don't know how to mask their opinions. They don't know how to be tactful. So I think there's an opportunity for learning, no matter what the situation is, to say you are 100% who you are, and I love you for that. There are going to be people in your life that are not going to like you for that, and you get to choose whether or not you want to associate them with that or not.
Right.
It's just,
and I think
across the board with anything.
I think tweaking or changing or adjusting what you're wearing or how you're presenting yourself in certain circumstances, like look at the workplace, right? You may be covered in tattoos, but you don't necessarily flaunt them at work,
right?
Or wear show off your midriff or things like that.
Right. So that's an example that you're not telling her not to be who she is, but you have to be cognizant of the situation that's around you.
So we're gonna go back to our main topic now because and get back to that because
so if you're just tuning in,
yes,
you're listening to Broadscast with Jackie McDougall and Kim Goldman, and we have a great guest on our show today.
So we have Audrey McClellan joining us from Rhode Island. Audrey, are you there?
Hey guys.
Oh, hold on a second. I think my preferences need to be.
Is there a song that we could? Audrey, no, that's not a song.
Hold on.
Hi, can you hear me?
Audrey's calling in.
I can't hear Audrey right now.
Audrey.
No, can you hear me?
Am I supposed to try to stall now? Since we have...
Well, I think no. I just need to do this. Hi, Audrey.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. How are you? Sorry, I was user error with the technology this morning.
No problem. I'm excited to be here.
So I saw this post that you had put on Facebook about this guy who wrote a letter. This is in Barrington, Rhode Island, yes?
Yes, it is. Yep.
So he wrote a letter to the editor. Can you give us a little bit of backstory on that?
Sure, absolutely. So, and again, full disclosure, I grew up in this town. So yesterday when this, I am from Barrington, Rhode Island. So yesterday when everything started to go, actually it was funny. I was flying home and I started, and I had 1 hour of internet on the flight and immediately I was getting when I tell you dinged like crazy on Facebook, on email, on text. Did you see this article? Did you see this article? Did you see this article? So it really did leave an impression. And the name of it was a letter to the editor by a local man that lives in the town. It says, "Please, women, put away the yoga pants." And and it truly was a letter to the editor that they did post. And I don't know if they necessarily thought it was going to get this much attention, but it was this male resident that was truly just appalled by the fashion of yoga pants and calling it bizarre and disturbing. That the adult women, truly among other things, adult women. He said 20 and over, wearing he wanted you to put away the yoga pants, like kind of almost like go back to the days when you dressed up, almost like people were joking. What am I supposed to wear? Pearls and like little black dresses to the market? So that it really, it's funny because it really did stoke like a firestorm that really has boiled over, which I thought would just be statewide, but national and even like internationally.
Oh my gosh. But the best part of this, I teased it earlier, is how the women of the community have responded.
Yes.
So what are they doing?
I will be there.
Please tell us about that.
And I'm going to find out who started it, but it was on Sunday afternoon, actually in the town of Barrington at 2:00. They have slated a protest, and it's a fun protest, but it's actually called the Yoga Pants Parade, and they are asking women everywhere to show up in your yoga pants, and everyone is going to show up and parade truly on Sunday afternoon in their yoga pants. I get, just completely off on this article.
And I love that like 150 some odd people have already committed to coming.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, it's funny. My mother called me earlier today and she goes, we're going to try to get there on Sunday. And the route of the parade is going to go by the man's house because, his address was printed on the article, like on his letter to the editor. It says, his name, his address. So
they printed his address?
It's a very small town. It has his address, on it. So
wow. Do they do that? Do they do that for everybody? For every letter to the editor? Because I think sometimes they do that to like show legitimacy.
I feel like that's dangerous and an invasion of privacy.
Well, but I think in how many people probably in Barrington?
Barrington is a really small town. It really is a small community. I mean, I think in my graduating class we had maybe like 150 kids. So it's not obviously a city, but
so they all knew who he was, whether you had the address there. Everybody knows who he is. Do you know this guy?
It's funny, I don't know him. And when I first read it, I saw the last name and I said, oh my God, I'm like, do I know any? Because he's probably about my father's age, I think somebody said. Mm-hmm. I think someone said he was like late 60s, early 70s. And I was like, oh my God, did I go to high school with this kid? Do I know anybody with the last name Sorrentino that was from Barrington? And I nothing came to mind. But it is funny in a way where, I'm thinking to myself, I don't think he thought what was going to happen from sending this. Because Barrington is, I hate to say this, but who reads the paper anymore? I mean, honestly, like I don't read it. But it's a small town, and this paper is just one of those things that every Tuesday morning it comes out, and I know my parents still get it, and but I don't know if he thought what it was going to truly ignite because it's just getting bigger and bigger.
Well, I love the last sentence. To all yoga pant wearers, I struggle with my own physicality as I age. I don't want to struggle with yours too.
Right.
And he references like the mature women, doesn't he? Wearing yoga pants.
Oh yes.
And I love how he makes the leap from wearing yoga pants to a Speedo because that's the same.
Yeah, he says, "Why don't we just wear a Speedo?" Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
100%. Because one of my friends who I used to swim with, it's a guy. He actually wrote, "Maybe I'll show up in a Speedo." So now, like, they're trying to get, like, some men to show up in Speedos as a joke now, too. So you have all the women in the yoga pants and these men in all these Speedos.
This is the best. So, can you do something for us? Can you please take video?
I definitely will. I know. It's funny. My husband came home earlier. He's like, so I'm assuming you're going to try to go on Sunday. I'm like, I'm going to try my best to get there. Yes.
You're like, I'm going to leave all 5 kids at home and I'm going to rock some, yoga pants and join the party.
Totally.
Oh my gosh. So I mean, do you think this guy has a point at all?
Listen, I mean, I'm not in yoga pants right now, but I'm in oversized sweatpants right now. True. Like I've been doing errands all day, and it's just one of those Fridays that's crazy, and I'm literally like pulled over in my car as I'm talking to you guys. But I don't think that and it's funny because I think what I guess bothered me maybe the most is that he said that he had made the comment, so to speak, that they were like cute, or I think he said adorable on children and young women who had like the benefit of nature's blessing of youth. Kind of like
that's disturbing.
Right, like come on, and then went on to say like but adult women, again, there's something bizarre and disturbing about the appearance that you look like in public with them on. So I guess children and young women, I guess teens, that's okay, but for you adult women, they're not.
Right.
It's that I think, I think he went too far with that. But, I think that, listen, as women, fashion, I write about fashion all the time. Fashion is a way to express yourself. It's how you're feeling on a particular day. A lot of the times, too, as moms, we want to be comfortable and cozy. That's why I'm dressed the way I am today. I had to be chasing my daughter around all morning. Mm-hmm. So, I just think that, come on, as a man to make this comment about women wearing yoga pants, I don't think it's necessary. No, I don't think he has anything to stand on here, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm surprised at a guy like, not that he's old, but a guy that age like really cares. Like, you know what I mean? I try to picture my father 10 years ago, and like the last thing he was thinking about. I mean, you know.
But as you get older and you become like a crotchety old man, like you don't care anymore. You just say whatever you want.
I'm surprised he didn't end the letter with "Get off my lawn."
He kind of did.
Right. No, it's true.
So what do you think? Do you think that it'll be a huge turnout on Sunday?
He's going to say, "Get off my lawn" on Sunday.
Or do you think it'll calm down and people won't?
No, I think they're going to get a pretty big turnout. I think it's going to be something that, I think it's going to bring a lot of women, especially in the town, together and kind of just, again, like more of in a fun way. But, I think someone had made a good point. I saw on somebody's Facebook wall, just with like everything going on, like, and this is the only piece of it, with everything going on in the political world. And, this did add a little, lightness, I guess, to the last 2 days, just with everything that we've been hearing about, obviously the debate going on, it did change it up a bit. So I will say, if there's any good that could come from it, maybe that was it. But I do think that they're going to get it. I do think they'll get a pretty good turnout. So I'm looking, I was trying to look as I was talking to you guys on my phone. I mean, it looked like almost like 178 people have signed up right now to show up on for the event. So that's a pretty good number.
And in Rhode Island, they probably actually show up. If that were LA, 3 would actually attend.
Yeah, we would just Facebook it in.
Right.
Yeah,
they'd all RSVP and no one would arrive. So
you're like 1,000%. 178 will show up.
So that's so funny, and probably a lot more that like aren't necessarily RSVPing on Facebook. So I can't wait to see.
We'll have to post pictures and do hashtag yoga pant parade.
And I just
I just pulled it up. So it says 526 are interested, 218 are going, and 957 have been invited.
Oh my!
So I think we're just at the beginning of this.
That is so funny. Yeah, because you've got the whole weekend. So I applaud the women of Rhode Island for just, it's everybody gets offended these days over everything. Kim and I talk about this regularly on the show, and they're angry and they're standing on their, their soapbox, and they're just, but to respond to this guy with such a sense of humor and, know that this is not really, this is not an issue we really have to like fight over. I think it's just brilliant.
Right.
And I think we need more of that. We need more of that. So before we let you go, Audrey, tell us what you're working on these days, because you're all over the place. You're blogging, you're doing video, you're a social media influencer. Like, give us a little plug.
Yeah, sure. No, so we just got back. So momgenerations.com is my quote unquote home. But I just got back from the ABC Kids Expo in Vegas with my friend Vera Sweeney. And then this upcoming week, I'm going to be traveling to Miami to speak at the Home Summit, which is a big PR summit that goes on there. And then I'm doing some interview, and then I'm heading to North Carolina with Home Depot. They're doing a bunch of really cool. They do women's workshops, which I love. As you guys, I have 4 sons, so I have to try to like look my best when it comes to like home improvement. I gotta look like I know what I'm doing. So
that's
so
funny.
I love that they bring like just women together, and they do these women workshops every month. So I'm heading there, and you guys know it's just the daily, weekly, monthly hustle, working hard, and just trying to make a living.
Absolutely.
How do your kids feel about you traveling so much?
My sons have definitely, I think they've gotten used to it. I think for me, what my big thing when I first started doing more travel was I wanted them to see a woman like their mom working hard and doing something that she loves. So the good thing is, they've always known that when I have to travel, it's for something good. And that I do miss them like crazy. We FaceTime a ton. My daughter, she's 3. She definitely misses me. I mean, I even when I got back late last night, I got like the big hug, and it was like, she's home. That still kind of breaks my heart. But in the same vein, I especially that she's my daughter. I want her to know that, if you have a dream and if you want to work hard, you can, at the very least, try to do everything that you want to do. So hopefully someday she'll look back and say, you know what, my mom was doing what she loved to do.
So is that why, I mean, this is not entirely why we had you on, but you left, like, this sounds like a big fancy job in New York with Donna Karan. And I mean, what was the reason that you left the fashion world to go enter the world of the internet?
I had my 2 sons in New York, and I was working for Donna Karan at that time. And then, to be honest with you, living in New York, and I knew we wanted to have a 3rd baby, and I just knew that my salary was going to be completely canceled out with daycare for 2 of them, never mind 3. So we kind of looked at each other, and we made the decision to move back to Rhode Island, where I was raised, and my whole family is still here. And it was right around that time that I really started to see this world of the internet. And they weren't called blogs at that time. They were more like, I remember some of them called like online journals, and they had big sites that I used to love to pop on. It was like, honestly, like the time of AOL and like the women's vertical on like AOL. That was truly, how I kind of got a lot of my news. And,
right.
I kind of just on a wing and a prayer kind of hoped that it would be something that could turn into something, if that makes sense. But I fell in love with the community of women and moms, and I had miscarried right after my 2nd son. And I found this amazing support of women online. And that really changed it all for me. This is a space I wanted to be in.
Wow. So, I mean, we talk about this, and we've had guests on before who, we as women can be doing something, really fulfilling, having this career. And then we, make this choice, like to stay there or to let it go. And then a lot of women choose to do, like to be home, which mad props to them, but have a really, really hard time years later getting back into it. And so I think that the internet, like for you especially, has been a way, like you'll never have a resume that just kind of has a big hole in it. If you ever decided to, which I can't even imagine you going back to work for somebody else, given the success of what you're doing. But, if you ever wanted to go back, you've brought these skills and this experience that is, untouchable. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I definitely see the internet as like, it's like that. It really is like an equalizer. Like if you really, find something that you love online, it doesn't matter if you have a high school degree, a college degree. If you are passionate about something and you want to go for it, you could have an Etsy shop. You could be, you could do, have a affiliate marketing online. I mean, it really does. It's always amazing to me that there are so many different ways that women, especially, because it's what I'm passionate about, can be empowered and find a space online to create a business. And if you kind of know what you want to do or kind of have an idea of what you want to do, there's also trailblazers that came before you that hopefully, they'd be open to talking to you to help you take your journey. But, I think you have a great point. I really do think that, the internet, and having it be that just at your fingertips, you have the world, you really can create something pretty special for yourself. It's just really depending upon what it is you want to do. And if you have the guts to go for it. And, it's been really empowering, for our family to kind of have this little space online that we have kind of created on our own, and we've really loved it.
We had a guest on a couple of weeks ago, Jenny Blake, who's the author of Pivot, and The Only Move That Matters is your next one. And I think, she talked a lot about taking the risk and being willing to just kind of do something different if it speaks to your heart. And I think that there's so many of us that are scared, myself included, to do that. So when you find that niche and you find that lane, to be able to stay in it, I think that's the scary part, is to just trust the process.
This has been, definitely a topic that we're passionate about. So, so what would you, and I know that we had you on for the yoga parade, but now that we have you, do you have a few more minutes?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what would you tell somebody? So, they have maybe a couple of kids, they don't necessarily want to be doing the big commute and the 10-hour days. And, how do they, things have changed a lot since, I started blogging when I was going through the adoption of my daughter, and she's been home for 8 years. So, I think adoption blogs or personal blogs or things like that aren't necessarily what people are. They were so new and they were so interesting and so different that I think people were kind of like running to them, and they're not necessarily what's going to make you a living online anymore. So where do you think it's going, and how can someone jump on like from the beginning? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, I mean, at the end of the day, I kind of always thought about it as, it's the consistency factor. It's, the more you put out there, the more hopefully eyeballs are going to fall on it. And, whether it's, the YouTube or I mean, and it's funny because when we all started, it was just the blog. And now you see these people that are like these amazing Instagrammers and these amazing YouTubers and these amazing, people on Vine and Pinterest, and they're creating businesses just from this one social media channel themselves, not even looking at the other ones as a possibility. And that, to me has always opened my eyes just to the possibilities that are out there. But, I do think it's really kind of getting in the online space and kind of knowing what really does work for you. I mean, maybe if it's something along the lines of, hey, I love, eating naturally and gardening and being very, and the organics, that you have these niches that you can kind of dive into. Maybe you're into DIY and really want to create these really cool craft projects. Or, for me, it was more the storytelling. It started with fashion because that was really my background and that's what I did love. And it just kind of, it within itself kind of meshed into this world of kind of like everything that I do. Just I call it now a lifestyle blog. Mm-hmm. But I do think that, I think there is room for everyone. I definitely think at the end of the day, what it does come down to is the consistency of it, really being able to dedicate yourself. And I mean, one of my friends started blogging 6 months ago and, she bought a planner and I said, okay, this is what you should do in your planner. Every day, you got to pretend you have like a teacher telling you what to do. And you got to write down blog, tweet, Instagram, Facebook. And we put all these things in for like 2 or 3 months. And I said, now check them off. After 1 month, she goes, you know what? This actually isn't for me. I thought this is what I wanted to do. It's way too much work than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. And, and that's, and I said, you know what? This is awesome. It's exactly, this is great. You know what you don't want to do. So she ended up getting into making like hair bows for, she had a newborn little girl and created like a little Etsy shop. So, I mean, I really do think it can come down to what it is that you want to put out there if you really do want to do it. Because as we all know from what we do, it's not just, putting it out there and then doing nothing all day. It's being online. Another piece of it too is going on other blogs and really being able to comment. I mean, it's almost going back to old school, what, we did when we all first started before there was Twitter and Facebook and, and all the other ways that you can connect with people. It was genuinely that golden egg of, oh my God, someone left a comment. Like, who is this person? It's not my mother. So, it's really, in my mind, it's kind of always been, I've always kind of equated it to a TV show. You tune in every Tuesday at 8:00 for a specific reason. Give someone a reason to tune back into your space online every day, whether it's, a journey of, fertility, or whether it's a journey of, raising, 5 daughters or, recipes every day that you're doing. But I do think that, the big rule is the consistency factor, is to keep that content going because people will see it. It's just, you can't just be one and done, once, 2 weeks, 2 weeks later, and then maybe like again next month. And, and again, it is the beast of what we do, but it is bringing in the other social media channels too. Right. It is Instagram. It is Facebook. It's just being out there. But the pros to all that is that you can do it anywhere. And,
That's
for
true.
a lot of moms, me specifically with 5 kids, I definitely needed to find a job that could carve out because, we were talking the other day as to how much money we have probably saved throughout the years with no daycare because it's always been my husband and I working our schedules to make it work. It would have maxed us out. We couldn't have done it, to be honest with you. Five daycares. We couldn't have. It would have been too crazy.
Right.
So,
I think one of the common myths, though, Audrey, is that like when you do blogging or YouTube or, you're a social media influencer, that it's like you just show up and you just slap something down. Like it's so much work. Yeah. Like people don't realize that it's an online business and it's so much work.
Yes, it's true. And it is like a business on like Main Street, because there is ways to, because the big question always is how do I make money? Like how can I somehow bring an income into what I'm doing? And, a lot of the times it's, I think 90% of the jobs that I get, I have pitched or I pitched originally and a relationship began. And it really is being extremely proactive. And I hated people saying no to me, but, because you send out 10 and you might get one yes. But it really is the nature of trying to make this work for you, but also knowing that you got to put in the time to be able to get to that point. So, if you open a store on Main Street, you're not going to get maybe 1,000 people that first day. But if you keep, getting out there and meeting people and maybe putting, advertising in local magazines or showing up at mom groups, your name gets out there more and more people will come to visit you. And it really is that same mentality with the blog or with an online social media destination or channel. It's don't expect it just to happen overnight. It does take some work. It does take some time to really create that audience.
Right. And how do your kids feel about, first of all, they could not be more beautiful, all of them. And your daughter, every time I see your daughter do anything, I just want to just for a half a second, I'm like, I want another baby, and then I remember, but how do they feel about kind of being in the public eye when it comes to do they notice that in real life? Do people say, oh, I saw you on this, or what is their reaction to being an online persona?
Yeah, no, they definitely, it's funny because we kind of joke where if I'm doing stuff at home, obviously they're in a lot of photos or doing a video. If it's a branded thing, I'm always like, okay, guys, this is we're doing a toy review and this is, VTech, and they're not actors. So, it's kind of what you see is what you get. They couldn't fake, they're just not like that. And, but it is funny. Sometimes they'll be in the kitchen and I'll have my camera out. They're like, oh, did you need the label out? I'm like, no, I'm good. It's just very funny how they've grown up very differently. Oh, are you blogging about this, Mom? What is this? But, I think I'm very honest and I'm very, always very open on my blog. But I definitely am more aware of, a photo I put out. I wouldn't want, a lot of their friends are on Instagram, a lot of their friends are on Snapchat. I'm very conscious of what I'm putting out now because they are getting older and I don't want to embarrass them. I don't want them to, feel like, they can't be quote unquote themselves if we're doing like a fun video review or something. So they've grown up with it. So I will say they don't know any other different than mommy does this thing online. But I definitely do think that they like it. They have their own little YouTube channel now. So, that kind of has inspired them to do that. And, it's sorry, my daughter's crying in the backseat.
Oh, so I'll let you go.
No, she's good. She's good. But but I think that they definitely have gotten used to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But I think that, you ride the line or you're actually not even close to the line because there are a lot of people out there and they kind of exploit their kids or capture their kids in a really bad moment or, telling their stories. When I used to blog, that's when I stopped because I realized they were their stories. And so I stopped kind of telling their stories because they were no longer mine. I don't know. They hit a certain age and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. But you've never been that kind of blogger,
Yeah, I'm trying not to. As much as I love to blog about, I knew my son had a crush last year on a girl, and these rites of passage, and I much exactly what you said. It's just not my story. It's not mine to tell. But I definitely I've been very conscious of that because again, just being in the space, much like you just said, I see a lot of people doing that, and and I often think they didn't sign up for this. So much like, if I was a teacher, I wouldn't go in front of my class and say things about my kids that weren't maybe in the best light or that would make my students laugh. I wouldn't do it online either. It just wouldn't be that way regardless of what I did. So, I'm definitely aware of that. That's a really great point.
Yeah, my son gets veto power. He tells me what I can post and what I can't. And, when he's like, don't tell anybody this and don't put that on there. Or he'll look at it and go, okay, that's okay.
Yeah. Well, he's 13 and he should can you imagine just if somebody just walks around and takes your picture as an adult and just posts whatever they want to or tells the stories about you privately, and so, but again, that's not the type of blog you have. And I think that your kids have been, they know what's up, and I think that you protect their feelings and their, the issues that they go through and stuff like that, which I think is great. So tell us, Audrey, how everybody, momgenerations.com is your home base, but where else can they find you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest. It's Audrey McClellan, but no D at the end. It's just Audrey McClellan. And also Mom Generations on YouTube.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You know, for we hope to see a video from the yoga parade. We'll have to find some.
If I'm there, you guys, I'm sending it to you. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so
Audrey.
much. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye. So she is awesome. And that was so much fun.
What?
And you're, so she mentioned Pinterest. I have to say that's like I'm so late to the party that I'm obsessed. Like, you know, we moved into our house in January and like I did nothing for many, many months. Yeah. And now I'm like a Pinterest freak.
Why? Everything. Trying to find things to...
Yeah, like things to do and DIY. And, you know, I'm obsessed with Fixer Upper. So that's a whole thing.
Yeah. I tried Pinterest for ideas for Sam's bar mitzvah centerpieces and stuff. And I was very overwhelmed. And I've taken Pinterest off my phone. Because
really?
I can't. It's too much.
It used to make me feel like
inadequate.
Less than. Yes, inadequate. And now I just kind of like... I just do it for inspiration, you know? So speaking of those centerpieces, how'd that end up working out?
I haven't done them yet. They're going to look there right now. They're all stacked in my garage. I have to build them and it will come. That's this week's project. After I have to be out of town for 2 days, the week of my kid's bar mitzvah, which was just the dumbest thing ever. But yeah.
But, you know, like we were just talking to Audrey, like you're a working mama.
Working mama.
You know, and your son sees that you're not only building the best life you can for him, but, you know, going for what you've been working for a very, very long time.
Yeah. I've actually put the guilt in him that I'm like, honey, the only reason I'm doing this is so I can pay for your bar mitzvah. And he just looks at me. I'm like, you want those new shoes?
What are you going
to
do?
Go out of town.
What are you going to do in November?
I'm going to get another story. Sam was playing basketball and he landed funny on his foot and the air bubble or something fancy in his shoe burst. And so he's like, Mom, we have to go to Nike. We have to go to Foot Locker. We have to get another pair of shoes. I'm like, you have 6 other pairs of shoes. So I'm like, if you want to go to the Nike store, I have to go to work and get that
I did the
paycheck.
whole thing. Yeah. Even this morning, my kids, they Jamba Juice at school, you know, and they have to like bring in $4. Yeah. By the way, when did, you know, an 8 ounce, 10 ounces of Jamba Juice become $4?
That's normal.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. But so I was doing the math with them. I'm like, it's $4 each times 2. And they're like 8. And I said, you know, and they do it once a month. So 10 months a year of school. And they're like, I'm like, that's $80.
Right.
You know, are we really going to spend $80 on Jamba Juice? You guys need to start figuring out how you can earn the money to get yourself some Jamba Juice. Like I'll buy your clothes, I'll buy your shoes, I'll buy your, you know, your necessities and some fun things. But you guys need to figure out Jamba Juice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know,
I always tell Sam he's always so willing to spend money when it's mine.
Right.
Yeah. But the second I tell him I'm not paying for that, like now he's on the internet, he finds deals, he finds coupons.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, and he saves his money and he allocates. The Jamba Juice thing drives me nuts because I said, dude, you know how to work the blender. Here's some ice. Here's some fruit. He's like, well, I don't like when you put strawberries in it because it makes my mouth itch. I'm like, but you get the strawberries wild at Jamba Juice. It's the concept of ordering it.
Yeah, but it's probably not real strawberries at Jamba Juice.
Right, but my kid doesn't know that. He just knows he's got strawberries wild that he's drinking. But like he doesn't want to put the effort in. You know, so I'm like, if you want to, I'll be happy to make you a smoothie at home. No, it's fine. I'm like, all right. Like I was willing to do it. I just don't want to spend the $5 for it.
Yeah, it's crazy, the price of those things. So if you are just joining us, you're listening to Broadscast with Kim Goldman and Jackie McDougall. And we have a special deal for you. So we were talking about Joanna Games.
And have this dreams.
I do have that out. We'll get to that in a second.
Just noticed that's been sitting here this whole time.
We, you know, I'm obsessed with Fixer Upper and DIY and all that stuff. And so Joanna and Chip Gaines' book Magnolia Story just came out, and everybody's getting it. It's and I've got it on order as well. But if you want to get it free, the audiobook, you can actually go to audibletrial.com/broadscast to download it for free and get a free month of audible.com, which is pretty awesome. And again, audibletrial.com/broadscast and go get that Magnolia Story for free. So, and any other book. Your book's on there. You read it yourself.
I did. I did read it myself. That sounds funny.
You read it yourself. So, speaking of books, if you have listened to our show before, Kim has crazy dreams. And so I have on the desk here 10,000 dreams interpreted, a dictionary of dreams, if you will. So I am ready for the next time you tell me one of your dreams. I'm going to actually look it up. Okay. So, and I actually owned this book and was doing some, not spring cleaning, I guess fall cleaning, and discovered it. And I'm like, I'm going to bring that to the studio and be ready for Kim.
All right.
So next time, you have one of those crazy dreams.
I had some crazy ones in Chicago. I won't discuss them.
Really?
But yeah.
Give me a topic though. Give me a
topic.
Like give me the main event of the dream.
In one of the dreams, oh my God, you just put me on the spot. Sometimes after they're gone.
Yes.
So
and it's so vivid you think you'll remember it forever.
Yeah, but I can picture. But you're putting me on the spot. No, I can't.
Can you give me a code word, like just a main word?
I was being attacked.
Oh.
I was being attacked.
Let's look that up. Tell me more.
Well, I don't remember, but that was the main word.
Were you being attacked physically?
Yes. And there were a local city.
Were you being grabbed by the bleep?
No. Yes, by the married.
Yeah.
That was an inside joke.
That was a joke from the last episode.
Oh, correct. I don't remember. My ex-husband showed up in my dream.
Oh.
Yeah, and it wasn't. I was anxious in the dream. So it wasn't a good dream.
Wow. And the 10,000 dreams interpreted, they don't have the word attack in here.
What? Ex-husband?
I'll look that up next.
I have the bleep for that. I don't remember. It was just, you know what? I do have really crazy vivid dreams with animals and the opossum. I had an opossum in my dream, but that actually happened in real life. And a possum got into my backyard. And my dad was sending me pictures of the opossum.
Oh.
And we were having a very funny conversation because my dad kept calling it an opossum and I was saying opossum and he thought I was saying like a possum, like one possum. And because he was saying oh, and it was just the funniest conversation. And mind you, I had a couple of cocktails in me, so it was even funnier.
So do you feel like maybe that a possum is your spirit animal? That's a whole other topic we should discuss someday.
What the heck is a
Yeah, when you
spirit
see certain or you see certain animals or look at Kim, I don't know if you could hear that, but that's the sound of Kim rolling her eyes at me because I like to talk about things like that.
What is a spirit animal?
Spirit animal, like if you like a hummingbird or you see lots of turtles cross your path. I don't know.
But what does that mean for me? Are you giving me a sound effect?
Each of them.
Kim, come on.
So I love that sound effect. It's the best, whatever. No, but I think that each animal has like its own, not definition, but like its own meaning. And so like say you constantly see a bunny and you look up bunny to see what that means because there's some the universe or God or someone from beyond trying to tell you something. The look on her face, you guys, right now. I should actually Snapchat if I knew how to Snapchat.
No, we don't know how to Snapchat.
If I knew how to Snapchat, I'd be Snapchatting the crap out of that.
Snapchat.
So it doesn't. This book doesn't have X or.
Okay, we will prepare for next time because you put me on the spot and I wasn't prepared.
But I do have pheasant. If you dreamt of a pheasant, or a pewter, but I don't have
pewter. That's funny.
Isn't that funny? They literally like the dream of seeing phosphorus. Like, have you ever dreamt about?
I've dreamt about losing teeth a lot. I know that's significant. I've had lots of dreams about losing teeth. That has happened many a time. So
I've had dreams where I didn't actually graduate from college. I missed a class.
And so,
because let's be honest, I'm surprised I even graduated from college.
Didn't you go to a funny naming college?
Salem State.
Oh, Salem State. Oh, I thought there was something funny about it.
Not all that funny. Teeth. Oh, geez, teeth gets like a page and a half on its own.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
We don't have to.
No, but if you loose, there'll be failures and gloomy tidings.
Oh, sweet.
What
if they fall out?
If you lose your teeth, you will have burdens which will crush your pride and demolish your affairs.
Yep, that's me, baby.
Unless they're not knocked out.
What if I have veneers? What is it?
Yeah, I'll have to look that. Then you maybe go to the dentist. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that's all we got for today.
That's it?
Yeah.
Are we in early?
No.
Oh, right on time?
This is the end. It's the end of our show.
We should have a song that we sing out.
I'm glad we had this time together.
So long, farewell.
Anybody who knows the rest of that. Avita Schnitzel. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Head over to all the social media channels and all that good stuff, which I would, tell you about, but Andrew does it better. So thanks for listening.
You are listening to Broadscast. For more from the Broads, head to broadscast.com.